The massive space station hung like a silver jewel against the backdrop of swirling nebula clouds. Its curved arms extended outward, decorated with the flags of 100 alien worlds. At the very end of the central docking bay, the blue and green Earth flags stood alone. Ambassador John Carter straightened his tie and took a deep breath. His gray eyes scanned the room where 20 alien representatives waited. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few glowed with internal light. All of them watched the humans with careful, calculating eyes. "Remember," John whispered to his team, "we're here to make peace, but we're not here to be fooled." Laura Bishop nodded. As captain of Earth intelligence, she never fully relaxed in alien company. Her hand stayed close to her hidden weapon as she scanned the room for threats. "The Concordat representatives are approaching," Daniel Wright said quietly into his earpiece. The young lieutenant's job was to listen to all communications in the room. His special implants could pick up sounds and signals no one else could hear. High Counselor Zex Terra floated toward them. The alien had no legs but moved on a cushion of air. Its skin shimmered with blue and green light, and its 4 arms ended in delicate fingers. "Ambassador Carter," it said in a voice that sounded like bells, "how pleased we are that humans have finally agreed to join our peaceful galaxy." John smiled and bowed slightly. "The people of Earth are grateful for this chance to resolve our differences." What John didn't say was that for 50 years, the aliens had pushed humans back whenever they tried to explore new worlds. They called humans too aggressive and too unpredictable to join their galactic concordat. In the corner of the room, a tall insect-like alien clicked its mandibles with what seemed like annoyance. John recognized the species as Krell, known for their military strength and dislike of humans. "Admiral Reynolds reports all systems normal," Laura whispered to John. "The fleet is positioned exactly as planned." Outside the neutral zone, Admiral Susan Reynolds commanded 5 Earth ships. They waited at the edge of the star system, ready to rush in if the talks went bad. Susan was a tough woman who had fought in 3 space battles against pirate groups. John trusted her with his life. Zex Terra guided them to a large round table. "Please, let us begin these historic talks." For 3 hours, they discussed trade routes, colony rights, and technology sharing. The aliens smiled and nodded, but John noticed how they never actually agreed to anything specific. They used fancy words and long sentences that sounded nice, but promised nothing. During a break, Daniel approached John with concern on his face. "Sir, I'm picking up strange communications between the station and ships hidden on the far side of the nearby moon." "Can you tell what they're saying?" John asked. "Not exactly, but they keep using a word that translates to containment or possibly capture." John looked across the room, where Zex Terra was speaking with the Krell representative. Their heads were close together, and they kept looking at the humans. "Keep monitoring," John ordered, "and tell Admiral Reynolds to be ready for anything." As they returned to the table, John noticed more security guards had entered the room. They carried what looked like ceremonial weapons, but his briefing indicated those staffs could quickly convert to energy weapons. The smiles of the aliens now seemed false. Their friendly words felt empty. John had the growing feeling that these peace talks were not what they appeared to be. That night in his private quarters, John stared out the window at the stars. Earth was too far away to see from here, but he thought of the billions of people depending on him to make the right choices. "We came for peace," he whispered to himself, "but I'm starting to think they invited us for something else entirely." The 3rd day of peace talks began with increased tension. John Carter noticed more alien security guards in the meeting hall. Their weapons no longer looked ceremonial, but were clearly ready for use. Captain Laura Bishop slipped into the seat beside John. Her face was serious as she leaned close. "Sir, we have a problem," she whispered. "I placed tiny cameras near the alien quarters last night. They recorded a secret meeting after midnight." John kept his face calm despite his racing heart. "What did you find?" "The aliens are planning an attack on our colonies while we sit here talking. They're using these peace talks to keep us busy while their ships move into position. John looked across the table at High Counselor Zex Terra, who was smiling at him with too many teeth. The alien's 4 hands were folded neatly, looking peaceful and friendly. It was all fake. Lieutenant Daniel Wright touched his earpiece and frowned. He wrote something on his tablet and passed it to John. The note read, "Just decoded their signals. Attack planned for tomorrow. Human colonies on Proxima, Ta Ceti, and Wolf 359 are first targets." John felt cold anger rise inside him. These were Earth's most populated outer colonies. Millions of people lived there, including many families with children. "Are you well, Ambassador Carter?" Zex Terra asked with false concern. "You seem troubled this morning." John forced a smile. "Just thinking about the future of our relationship." "Yes, the future," Zex Terra said, its skin glowing brighter. "We have such plans for humanity's future." The morning passed with more meaningless talk. The aliens discussed farming rights and travel permits while their fleet prepared to kill millions of humans. During the lunch break, John gathered his team in their secure room. The walls had special technology that blocked all listening devices. "We need to act now," Laura said. "Every minute we waste puts our people in more danger." Daniel nodded. "I've confirmed their attack plans. They think we're trapped here with no way to warn Earth." John made his decision. "We're leaving. Now, contact Admiral Reynolds and tell her to prepare for our immediate departure." "The aliens won't let us go easily," Laura warned. "I know," John said. "That's why we need to surprise them." John returned to the meeting hall alone. The aliens were already seated, waiting to continue their lies. "High Counselor," John said loudly, "I wish to present evidence of your planned attack on Earth colonies." The room went silent. Zex Terra's glow dimmed slightly. "I don't know what you mean, Ambassador. There must be some misunderstanding." John pulled out the tablet and played the recording Laura had captured. The aliens' voices filled the room, discussing invasion plans and how many humans they expected to capture. "This is clearly a fake," Zex Terra said, but its voice shook. "We would never plan such things during peace talks." "Then explain these," John said, showing intercepted communication codes that Daniel had decoded. "These are attack coordinates for our colonies." The Krell representative suddenly stood up, its insect legs clicking against the floor. "Enough of this game. Security, detain the humans." The guards moved forward with weapons ready. John pressed a hidden button on his watch. "I'm afraid we won't be staying." The lights in the hall suddenly went out. When emergency lighting came on seconds later, John was already at the exit. The other human delegates were running toward their ship. "Stop them," Zex Terra shouted, floating quickly after John. "They cannot leave." But John knew something the aliens didn't. Humans always planned for the worst, even during peace talks. As laser fire began to fill the corridor behind them, Laura smiled grimly at John. "Protocol Exodus is active, sir. It's time to show these aliens what happens when they try to trick humans." Alarms screamed throughout the space station as John Carter and his team raced toward their ship. Red warning lights flashed in the corridors, making shadows dance on the walls. "This way," shouted Commander Kelly Martinez. As their pilot, she knew the fastest route to the docking bay. Her short brown hair bounced as she ran, leading the group around a corner. 5 alien guards blocked their path. The guards raised their weapons, the ends glowing with energy. "Stop, or we will fire," one guard ordered. Laura Bishop stepped forward, pulling out what looked like a pen from her pocket. She clicked it once, and a bright flash filled the hallway. The guards dropped to the floor, stunned but alive. "Standard Earth diplomatic protection device," Laura said with a small smile. "Never leave home without one." They continued running. Behind them, they could hear more guards approaching. "Admiral Reynolds, this is Carter," John said into his wrist communicator. "Protocol Exodus is in effect. We need extraction now." A calm female voice answered, "Understood, Ambassador. The fleet is moving into position. Get to your ship." When they reached the docking bay, they found more guards waiting. Laser fire filled the air, forcing the humans to take cover behind cargo containers. "Our ship is right there," Daniel said, pointing to the sleek Earth vessel just 50 meters away. "But we'll never make it through that crossfire." John looked at his team. They had come prepared for trouble, but they were diplomats, not soldiers. Still, every human who traveled to space received basic combat training. "Kelly, can you remote start the ship's engines?" John asked. The commander nodded, tapping commands into her wrist device. "Engines powering up, but we still need to get there." Daniel suddenly smiled. "Sir, remember the diplomatic gift we brought? The one in the silver case." John's eyes widened. "Perfect." Laura pulled a silver case from her bag and entered a code. Inside was a small sphere that glowed with blue light. "Earth's latest peace technology," Laura said. "Or at least, that's what we told them it was." She pressed the sphere and rolled it toward the guards. It bounced once, twice, then released a cloud of thick white smoke. The entire docking bay was covered within seconds. "Helmets on," John ordered. Each team member pulled a clear mask over their face, allowing them to see through the smoke with special lenses. They ran for their ship while the confused guards fired blindly into the smoke. Commander Kelly reached the ship first and opened the door. Once everyone was inside, Kelly jumped into the pilot's seat. "Buckle up. This won't be a smooth ride." The ship's engines roared as it lifted off. The docking clamps tried to hold them in place, but Kelly activated the emergency release, tearing the clamps away. "We have hostile ships approaching from all directions," Daniel reported from the communication station. "They're trying to box us in." Outside the station, 6 alien warships moved to form a blockade. "Admiral Reynolds, we need that extraction now," John called. From behind the nearby moon, 5 Earth ships suddenly appeared. They were smaller than the alien warships but moved faster. Admiral Susan Reynolds' voice came through clearly. "Creating a diversion. Ambassador, stand by." 2 Earth ships fired bright energy beams, not at the alien vessels but at empty space between them. The beams crossed and created a blinding flash that temporarily disabled the alien sensors. "That's your window, Commander Martinez. Get our people out of there," Admiral Reynolds ordered. Kelly's hands flew over the controls. Their ship shot forward, slipping through the gap in the alien blockade. The aliens fired wildly, but the humans were already racing toward the jump point. "Jump engines ready," Kelly announced. "Preparing for faster-than-light travel in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The stars stretched into lines of light, and the diplomatic vessel vanished from normal space, leaving behind a very surprised and angry galactic concordat. In the ship's main room, John looked at his team. "Good work, everyone. But this isn't over yet." Daniel nodded grimly. "The aliens think they've won. They think we're just running away." Laura smiled. "They have no idea what's coming next." General Vex Loren stood on the bridge of the Concordat flagship, his scaled skin gleaming under the blue lights. His 6 eyes blinked in sequence as he watched the holographic display of their fleet spreading across human space. "The cowardly humans have fled, just as we predicted," he said to his officers. "Now we will take their colonies and finally end their dangerous expansion." The alien crew cheered. For decades, they had watched humans grow stronger, building ships and claiming new worlds. The Concordat had always seen humans as unpredictable and dangerous, too emotional, too quick to fight. Now they would solve the human problem forever. "First target, Proxima Colony," Vex Loren ordered. "Prepare all weapons." The fleet of 30 warships jumped through space, arriving at the human colony world of Proxima Centauri. The general expected to see cities, defense stations, and frightened humans. Instead, they found an empty world. "Where are the humans?" he demanded. Scan the planet. After several minutes, an officer reported, "General, the colony is abandoned. Buildings are empty. No humans anywhere. Even their equipment is gone." Vexloren's scales turned pale with confusion. Impossible. There were millions living here just days ago. The same strange situation greeted them at Ta City. Empty human cities stood silent under the alien sun. No people, no ships, no resistance. They must have received warning somehow, Vexloren hissed. They've retreated to their home world. Earth will be crowded and vulnerable. We will find them there. Meanwhile, far from the alien fleet, Dr. Andrew Phillips floated in zero gravity inside a hidden space station called Sanctuary. The station was built inside a hollowed-out asteroid, invisible to normal sensors. Hundreds of scientists worked at computer stations around him. "The Concordat fleet is moving exactly as we predicted," Andrew said, watching dots of light move across his screen. "They've found our empty colonies, and now they're heading for Earth." Next to him, Admiral Reynolds smiled. After helping Ambassador Carter escape, she had rushed to this secret command center. "Are the colonies safe?" she asked. Andrew nodded. "Operation Ghost Town worked perfectly. We evacuated all colony worlds 3 weeks ago, after our spies first reported the Concordat's plans. Every human is safely hidden in deep space shelters or moved back to the solar system." On another screen, they watched alien ships approaching Earth's solar system. The aliens thought they were launching a surprise attack. They had no idea that humans had been preparing for this moment for years. "General," an alien officer called to Vexloren, "we're approaching Earth's solar system. Strange that we haven't encountered any human ships yet." The general's confidence was beginning to fade. Something felt wrong about this invasion. It was too easy. "Proceed with caution," he ordered. "Scan everything." As the alien fleet passed the orbit of Neptune, their sensors detected nothing unusual. No human ships, no defense stations, just the empty silence of space. "Perhaps they've surrendered," an officer suggested. "Maybe they're hiding on their planet, hoping we'll be merciful." Vexloren laughed, but the sound was hollow. "Humans never surrender. They're planning something. But what?" Hidden in the shadow of Jupiter, the real Earth fleet waited. Hundreds of ships, more than the aliens knew existed, sat silently with engines cold and weapons ready. Admiral Peter Collins stood on the bridge of Earth's largest battleship. "All ships report ready, sir," his second-in-command said. "Good," Peter replied. "The aliens will reach Earth's orbit in 6 hours. Then they'll discover that humans don't run away. We just reposition for better advantage." Back at Sanctuary Station, Dr. Andrew Phillips activated a communication link to all human forces scattered throughout the galaxy. "All units, prepare for Operation Silent Response. Phase 1 begins in 6 hours. He looked at Admiral Reynolds with a determined expression. "The Concordat thought we were weak because we talked about peace. They're about to learn how strong humans really are when pushed too far." General Vexloren's fleet entered Earth's orbit with weapons ready. The blue planet turned slowly below them, its oceans and continents clearly visible. Strange clouds covered some areas, but otherwise, Earth looked peaceful and undefended. "No response to our demands for surrender," reported an officer. "No communications at all." Vexloren felt a cold fear growing inside him. This wasn't right. Humans were fighters. They should be begging for mercy or firing weapons. This silence was wrong. "Send the first wave down to the planet," he ordered. "Start with their capital cities." 20 smaller ships broke away from the main fleet and descended toward Earth. As they entered the atmosphere, something strange happened. Their engines suddenly lost power. Communication systems failed. The ships began dropping from the sky like stones. "What's happening?" Vexloren shouted as the fleet watched their ships crash. At that moment, hidden in Jupiter's shadow, Admiral Peter Collins gave the order. "All ships, power up and attack." Operation Silent Response is now active. Hundreds of human ships suddenly appeared on alien sensors. They had been there all along, engines cold, perfect stealth mode. Now they roared to life, weapons already aimed at the surprised alien fleet. Impossible. Vex Lauren gasped. Their fleet was reported as only 50 ships. The human ships opened fire. Unlike the aliens, who aimed to destroy, the human weapons targeted engines and weapon systems. They didn't want to kill. They wanted to disable. In her lab on Sanctuary Station, Dr. Olivia Garcia pressed a button on her computer. Disruption field active. She reported to Admiral Reynolds. The alien ships won't be able to communicate with each other or jump away. Across the galaxy, more surprises waited for the Concordat. Small metal boxes, hidden on their planets years ago by human tourists, suddenly activated. These devices jammed communications and disabled power systems. On the Concordat homeworld, High Counselor Zexterra watched in horror as every screen went dark. "What is happening?" it demanded. An aide rushed in, panic on its face. "Reports from across the galaxy, Counselor. Human devices are activating everywhere. Our ships can't communicate. Our defense systems are offline. And the subjugated species on 5 worlds have started revolts." Back in Earth orbit, the battle was already over. The alien ships floated helpless in space, unable to fight or flee. Admiral Collins' voice came through on all their frequencies. "This is Earth Fleet to Concordat vessels. You are defeated. Surrender now." General Vex Lauren slammed his fist on the control panel. How? How did they know? How did they prepare? The answer came from an unexpected source. A human face appeared on his screen. Ambassador John Carter. "General, we've known about your planned betrayal for over a year," John said calmly. "When we discovered your real intentions, we didn't just prepare for these peace talks. We prepared for war. On Earth below, what the aliens had thought were cities were actually clever projections. The real cities were hidden underground or protected by special shields. The humans had never been vulnerable. Throughout alien space, more human ships appeared near Concordat worlds. These ships had been hiding for months, waiting for this moment. They didn't attack cities or harm civilians. They simply disabled military bases and government centers. Dr. Andrew Phillips watched the reports coming in from across the galaxy. "All human sleeper ships report success," he told Admiral Reynolds. 96% of Concordat military capability has been neutralized." Admiral Reynolds nodded. "And minimal loss of life on both sides. That was the President's order. Show strength without unnecessary killing." In his command ship, Admiral Collins prepared to board the alien flagship. "Tell General Vex Lauren we're coming to discuss the terms of their surrender." A junior officer asked, "Sir, do you think they understand what happened yet?" Collins shook his head. "They thought because we wanted peace, we weren't ready for war. That was their biggest mistake. Humans always prepare for the worst while hoping for the best." 1 week after Operation Silent Response began, the galaxy was a very different place. Major William Foster stood on the bridge of his ship, looking down at a Concordat military base. His team had just finished disabling their weapons without harming a single alien. "All targets secured, Major," reported his second-in-command. "That's the last major installation in this sector." Will nodded, his face serious. He was a soldier, but he didn't enjoy fighting. He was glad their orders were to disable, not destroy. "Good work. Let's move to the next sector." Across Concordat space, similar scenes played out. Human ships appeared at military bases, government centers, and communication hubs. They used precise, targeted attacks that shut down systems without killing. On the Concordat homeworld, High Counselor Zexterra faced an angry crowd of alien leaders. "You promised the humans would be easy to defeat," shouted a furry representative from the Mirax system. "Now look what has happened." Zexterra's glow had dimmed to almost nothing. "We didn't know they had prepared so thoroughly. We didn't know they had hidden technology throughout our worlds. Another alien, with green scales and 4 arms, stepped forward. My world depended on trade with 3 other systems. Now our ships can't fly. Our communication systems don't work. Our people are going hungry. This was happening across the galaxy. The Concordat had built an economy where every world depended on others. Now, with human devices shutting down their technology, that system was falling apart. Nancy Howard, Earth's top economic analyst, explained the situation to President Frank Miller in the White House Underground Command Center. The Concordat built their power on making everyone depend on them, Nancy said, pointing to charts on her screen. Each world was only allowed to produce certain goods. No one had everything they needed. It kept everyone under control. The president nodded. And now that system is breaking down. Exactly. Without Earth's trade and with their ships grounded, many worlds can't feed their people. But this crisis has another effect. Some worlds see a chance to break free from Concordat control. Reports came in from across the galaxy. On 5 different planets, species that had been forced to join the Concordat were rising up against their rulers. They saw the humans' victory as their opportunity for freedom. On a planet called Nexus IV, furry creatures called Relians tore down Concordat flags and declared their independence. Their leader sent a message to Earth. Humans have shown us that the mighty Concordat can be defeated. We wish to form an alliance with Earth instead. Similar messages arrived from other worlds. Many alien species had never wanted war with humans. They had been forced to follow the Concordat's decisions. Dr. Andrew Phillips watched these developments with interest. It seems we've accidentally started a revolution, he told Admiral Reynolds. She smiled slightly. Not so accidental, perhaps. Our intelligence suggested many worlds were unhappy under Concordat rule. We just gave them the opportunity they needed. On the captured alien flagship, General Vex Loren sat in what had once been his command chair. Now he was a prisoner. Admiral Collins entered the room with 2 guards. "General, I've come to discuss your future," Collins said. Vex Loren looked up with hatred in his 6 eyes. "You've destroyed everything." The Concordat maintained order in the galaxy for 1,000 years. Collins shook his head. "We haven't destroyed anything that shouldn't have been destroyed. Your order was built on forcing other species to obey you. That's not peace. That's control." He handed the alien general a tablet showing reports from across the galaxy. "Look at what's happening. Those who feared you are now seeking alliances with us. Those you oppressed are breaking free." Vex Loren turned away. "What happens now?" "Now," Admiral Collins said firmly, "we build a real peace, one based on respect, not fear. And the Concordat will have a choice. Join us as equals or watch as the galaxy moves forward without you." 6 months after the humans left the peace talks, a very different meeting took place. This time, the location was Earth itself, in a grand hall built specifically for galactic diplomacy. Representatives from 37 alien species filled the room, their diverse forms creating a colorful display of life from across the stars. At the head table sat President Lisa Rodriguez, a tall woman with kind eyes but a firm expression. Beside her was Ambassador John Carter, who had come a long way since fleeing the Concordat's trap half a year ago. "Welcome to Earth," President Rodriguez said, her voice carrying to all corners of the room. "Today marks a new beginning for relations between all our peoples." High Counselor Zex Terra was also present, but no longer floating proudly on its air cushion. Now it sat in a simple chair, its glow dim and subdued. The once mighty Concordat had been reduced to just one voice among many. John stepped forward. 6 months ago, I stood before the Concordat and discovered their plan to betray us. Today, I stand before you with evidence of that betrayal." On large screens around the room, recordings played. They showed Concordat leaders planning attacks on human colonies. They revealed how the peace talks had been designed as a trap. "We did not want war," John continued. "We came seeking peace. But when we discovered the Concordat's true intentions, we had to protect our people. A representative from the Rillians, the furry creatures who had been among the first to rebel against Concordat rule, stood up. Humans didn't just protect themselves. Their actions freed many of us who had been forced to obey the Concordat for centuries. We owe them our thanks. Other representatives nodded in agreement. Not all species had been oppressed. Some had genuinely believed in the Concordat's vision of the galaxy, but many had simply been too afraid to speak out against the powerful alliance. Dr. Olivia Garcia presented the next part of Earth's proposal. We've created a new system for interstellar travel and communication. Unlike the Concordat system, ours doesn't give control to any single species. It's designed to be fair for everyone. This was crucial. The Concordat had maintained power by controlling who could travel where and who could communicate with whom. Earth's new system would prevent any one group from gaining that kind of power again. President Rodriguez spoke again. We propose a new galactic council where all species have equal voice. No more forced membership, no more threats, just genuine cooperation. Many alien representatives applauded. Even some former Concordat loyalists seemed interested. After seeing how quickly their power had collapsed, they recognized the need for a new approach. Zex Terra finally spoke, its voice quieter than before. The Concordat ruled for 1,000 years. We brought order to chaos. How can we trust that your system will work? Admiral Susan Reynolds, who had led Earth's fleet during the conflict, stepped forward. Because unlike your order, ours won't be built on fear. It will be built on choice. Any world that doesn't wish to join us is free to remain independent. As the meeting continued, different species offered their own ideas. Some suggested trade agreements. Others proposed cultural exchanges. A genuine discussion was taking place, something that had never happened under Concordat rule. Later that evening, John stood at a window overlooking the lights of Washington, D.C. Admiral Reynolds joined him, both watching the stars above. "Do you think it will work?" she asked. "This new council?" John nodded slowly. "I think it has a chance. The galaxy learned an important lesson when they tried to eliminate us." "What's that?" "That seeking true peace is not a sign of weakness," John said. "The Concordat saw our desire for peace as proof that we were weak. They never understood that preparing for peace and preparing for war can happen at the same time." Reynolds smiled. "They mistook our extended hand as a sign we couldn't make a fist." "Exactly," John agreed. "And now the galaxy has a chance to build something better, because they finally understand that humans aren't just powerful fighters. We're also skilled builders." Outside the window, ships from a dozen worlds orbited Earth peacefully. A new era had begun.